You know, when you're at the grocery store, you think about the price of food, right? That number on the tag seems pretty straightforward. But what if I told you that the real cost of what's on your plate is a secret? A secret with massive consequences for our planet and for our health. And the true number? It's absolutely mind-blowing.
And there it is. According to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, that's the FAO, the hidden cost of our global food system is more than $12 trillion every single year. Nope, that's not a typo. $12 trillion in damages that never, ever show up on your receipt.
To try and wrap our heads around that, get this, the entire market value of the global food system is about $10 trillion. So yeah, the hidden damages are actually bigger than the economic value it officially creates. It's almost like our global food system is running at a net loss to society.
That is the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, how can a cost that massive just be invisible? To get it, we really have to look way beyond the supermarket shelf and see the whole picture.
This is honestly the perfect way to think about it. The price you pay for your coffee or your bananas or your rice, that's just the tiny tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water. What's submerged, completely unseen, are these enormous environmental, health, and social costs created all along the way.
So, in economics, there's a term for this. It's called an externality. It's basically a fancy way of saying that a transaction creates costs for someone who isn't part of the deal. In this case, that someone is all of us. These are real costs, but they aren't paid by the company or by you at the checkout. Instead, society as a whole pays for them later on, through things like higher healthcare bills, recovering from climate disasters, and cleaning up our environment.
Okay, so let's crack open this huge $12 trillion number. Where is all of this damage actually coming from? Well, the FAO research breaks it down into three main pillars.
And wow, look at this breakdown. A whopping 70% of these hidden costs are health-related, and they're mostly driven by unhealthy diets. Then you've got about 20% that are environmental, and the last 10% are social costs. The fact that health issues from our diets make up the lion's share, that's a really critical clue about where we need to focus.
So first up, let's talk about the environmental side. Our food system is a massive driver of planetary change. It's responsible for about a third of all greenhouse gas emissions, it uses 70% of our planet's fresh water, and it's a huge reason for deforestation and biodiversity loss. And that's not even counting all the fertilizer and pesticide runoff that pollutes our rivers and oceans.
Now for the biggest piece of the pie, our health. These costs are overwhelmingly from productivity losses, basically people being too sick to work because of diet-related diseases like heart disease and diabetes. And what's causing it? Well, it's diets that are low in things like whole grains and fruits, and dangerously high in things like sodium. It's a global health crisis, and it's hiding right in our daily meals.
And finally, let's talk about the human cost. An estimated 1.23 billion people work in these agri-food systems, but so many of them live in poverty. Think about that irony for a second. The very system designed to feed the world often can't even provide a decent living or basic food security for its own workers.
But this brings up a really crucial question. Who's actually footing the bill for all this damage? Because these hidden costs are not spread out equally. Not at all. There's a deep, deep imbalance between who's creating the problem and who ends up suffering the most.
This chart, man, it just says it all. In high-income countries, the hidden costs generated average out to about $3,800 per person per year. Now look at low-income nations. That figure is just $75. It's the wealthier nations with our resource-heavy consumption habits that are creating the vast majority of the damage.
And who bears the brunt of it? This quote gets right to the heart of the matter. For example, think about a rice farmer in Vietnam's Mekong Delta. They might be exposed to harmful pesticides every day with little or no protective gear. The health problems that result for them and their family are a devastating cost, a cost that is completely invisible on the price tag when that rice is sold in a supermarket halfway across the world.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but uncovering these costs isn't about feeling hopeless. It's about taking action. The research is clear. There are pathways to fix our food system and build a much more sustainable future.
The solution really boils down to a three-part strategy. First, governments need to adopt what's called true cost accounting, basically creating policies that actually factor in these hidden costs. Second, we have to help farmers and businesses shift to more sustainable, climate-smart practices. And third, we as consumers have a ton of power. Our choices together shape the entire market.
And let's be really, really clear on this point. This is not about just jacking up food prices and making things unaffordable. The goal is to redesign the system itself, to make it way more efficient, to cut down on waste, and to make sure the true value of food is reflected in a way that's fair for farmers, healthy for us, and sustainable for our planet.
So I'll leave you with a little thought experiment. Imagine the next time you go shopping, every single price tag tells the whole story. The environmental impact, the health burden, the social cost. What would you choose differently? Just asking that question, well, that's the first step toward building a much better food future.